Before this video begins, this is not a God bridging tutorial, this is a Breezily bridging tutorial. Without further ado, let's get started with the video. The first thing that you need to know if you want a Breezily bridge is CPS. And CPS determines how fast you place a block, break a block, and attack hostile mobs or neutral mobs and players. And this is very important when you're Breezily bridging. And you need a minimum of 5 right-click CPS if you want a Breezily bridge. And basically, this will be a very hard task if you're going to use 5 CPS. And this is why I recommend 12 CPS, because if you're going to use 5, you're going to have to time each click, and that's going to be very hard to do. So, if you guys need tutorials on how to drag click, butterfly click, jitter click, there should be a lot of those out there. So that should get you to 12 CPS. It'll take some practice to do. Anyway, the first practice step that I use to Breezily bridge is you go on the edge of a block and you hold shift, right? You place one block, and as you strafe between those blocks, you want to get ready to time your next click. And what I mean by this is when your crosshair just gets to the edge of the block, or like right here, you want to place another. And you want it to look just like that, fluently, like this. And what you want to avoid is doing this. You don't want to get stuck on the edge of a block. You want to just have it fluent. It's like slow bridging, but if you guys didn't know, when you slow bridge, I don't know if you can tell, but there's a small stop time in between each edge of the block. And basically that's what you don't want to do in this practice step. Because then in the real Breezily, you just fall off. And after you've perfected that, the next step will be to spam click at least 4 to 6 CPS through the strafe of the block. And I know this sounds complicated, but it's really not. So you place your first block just like this, and then you have to at least get 4 to 6 CPS during the strafe of this block. And basically, it looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, however high your CPS goes. And you want it to look fluent just like the last one. And if you are getting stuck on the edge a lot, then this basically means you'll fall off in the real Breezily. If you can do this however many blocks, then good job. You're ready for real Breezily bridging. But this is a lot more complicated than these two simple steps. If you guys didn't know, when you're sprinting in Minecraft, obviously I have sprint toggles, but if you sprint in Minecraft, your sprint will run out at around 30 or so blocks. I'm not 100% sure, but it's similar with Breezily bridging, and you should jump at around every 8-ish blocks, so you can basically reset your Breezily, and it'll help, trust me, even though it doesn't sound like it's that important. But make sure you don't spam jump like this. Otherwise, it'll become jitter bridging, and then you'll just fall off like that. And I butterfly click, by the way. I get around 19 to 21 CPS. It's my mouse double clicks. And basically, don't spam jump. Try to jump at least every 5 or 8 blocks. Because look, if we straight bridge, just straight, it is possible just to do it flat. There, it fell at around the 10th or 11th block. I should have jumped 3 blocks before that, because then I'd get another 8, and then another, and then I'll eventually fall off. And another thing that you really need to know, this isn't way too important, but trust me, it's still important. If on everyone's keyboard, there should be a button that says F3, and if you click it, do you see these coordinates here? It says -89.9/81.7, and this is facing east. And when you're facing east, you want those coordinates to look like -90/81. And basically, or 81.5, just around the 81. Do make sure it is not 80, because if it is 80, then you're on the complete top of the block, and you're going to fall off eventually. You don't want to be at the complete top. So make sure it's -90/81-ish. This is actually perfect. And I got rid of it. Well, I really got it. But the reason that happened is because I moved my hand when I'm clicking. And you don't want that to happen. So, in a way to prevent that is to practice your clicking and try not to move your mouse a lot. Obviously, I still move my mouse a lot because butterfly clicking moves my hand. But after enough practice, it should be better. So we were facing east and we got negative 90, 81, right? That was not that bad. Decided to stop. So that's facing east. And when you're facing north, or when you're facing south, you want it to be 1/81. Can we get that? That's pretty much it. Right. That's good. As you can see, I got farther than just randomly picking a square to start on and then going. So these coordinates are really helpful if you want to keep it consistent, and it should prevent just walking off like this too. Most people say to start your Breezily in the middle of a block, but I disagree with that because if you start in the middle of a block, there's a good chance this can happen. And you can just walk off like that. But if you start at the side of a block, you'll have more time to strafe sideways and then place your block. And when you're facing west, your coordinate should look like 90/81. Okay. Can't really get it. I'm really bad. That's good enough. Doesn't need to be exactly, but the more closer, the better. And lastly, when you're facing north, you want your coordinate to be negative 180. Can we get it? Negative 180. Come on. Don't know why you can't get it. Okay, that's fine. Negative 180, 81. That's good enough. It has to be somewhere on the 81. It doesn't exactly need to be 81, but the closer it is, the better, obviously. And now we're back to east, where it's negative 90, 81. And if that's pretty much it. But the last thing that you need to know if you want a Breezily Bridge is this does not take 1 or 2 days to perfect. This can take up to months. So what I'm saying here is if you want to learn how to Breezily Bridge, you need to devote your time into this. There are no shortcuts. Thanks for watching, and like and sub if you want more videos like this.